All right. It is the 8 o'clock hour here on the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup. We're live at Tad Gormley Stadium for the semifinal Division I matchup between Jesuit and Brother Martin, along with Alan Waddell. I'm the Esquire Brad Lumine. And it's time for our Allstate Sugar Bowl interview of the week. This week, we've got one of only two returning guests that we've ever had on the program. This week, we got with us Bill Hancock. As y'all probably know, Bill's the executive director of the college football playoff. He's been doing that since it began in 2014. Before that, he was the manager of the Bowl Championship Series when we had the BCS championship games. And before that, he was actually the first full-time director of the NCAA Men's Final Four. He did that for several years. Bill, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule today, jumping on the program with us tonight.
Happy to do it, Brad, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too, man. Look, let's talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. In South Louisiana, a Thanksgiving tradition for high school football is if you're practicing, you're doing something well. And we've got semifinals and some quarterfinals going on tonight. Teams that are practicing on Thanksgiving Day, they're doing something well. They're advancing in the playoffs. Tell us a little bit about your traditions and your memories with regards to Thanksgiving, whether it involves sports, families, anything like that.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because it includes two of my favorite things, football and food.
That's true.
And a third.
Amen.
And a third, family. I happen to love high school football, and I love the whole season, but particularly playoff time. So I like to follow the different ways that different states do it. You know, we're a national organization, so we work with people all around the country. And I knew a guy in Alaska, and they have their playoffs in October because of the weather.
Yeah.
And in Texas, we finish, our office is in Dallas, and we finish high school about the weekend before Christmas with, I think it's 12 games over a 4-day period in AT&T Stadium. So I love high school football, love the playoffs.
What was it like, and John made sure I pronounce it right, in Hobart, Oklahoma, where you grew up, that Thanksgiving tradition?
Well, thank you, John, for pronouncing it correctly. Y'all in Louisiana know how important it is to pronounce things correctly. And remember when the Oregon had the quarterback named Herbert, and one of my friends at the Sugar Bowl said, "I love that A-Bear."
Yep.
Anyway, small town in Oklahoma, high school football was a big deal. I didn't play. I was a sports writer and played in the band. I learned that there were more cute girls in the band than there were on the football team.
All right.
So I loved. I wrote stories about all the games in our little town paper, and marched in the band. And our team won the state championship when I was a senior.
Awesome.
So these were the guys that I had gone to school with, starting at kindergarten all the way up through K through 12, and to be a part of them winning the state was awesome. Back then we called it Take State. We took state, and that was a big deal.
That's awesome. Well, look, let's talk about how things have been going on this year. You know, obviously, your position, director of the college football playoff, you've got an eye on all the college teams and what they're doing. So, from your standpoint, how do you think the season's gone so far? I mean, look, we've had the shake up in the rankings, and some people, you know, adamant that Cincinnati should be in, and are they in, are they out? You know, some of the top 4 teams losing. There's a big shake-up going on right now. So what are your thoughts about, look, if anything, it's provided a lot of drama and a lot of talking points, and I guess no publicity is bad publicity for the CFP, right?
Well, the first thing is, Brad, it's so great to have football back, to have the pageantry back, the crowds, all the enthusiasm. I don't think any of us really understood how much we missed it last year until we got it back. And it's just been a really great, obviously fun season to watch the upsets and see the great performances on the field. And to the committee, it's also been an enjoyable season. They don't have to worry about anything except getting the right 4 teams and getting the top 25 right. And no politics, no conference versus conference. For them, it's all about just, hey, let's get the teams right. And they're a great group of people. They really enjoy what they do. They know how fortunate they are to have this responsibility. And we're the same way with our staff. We know that there's 20 of us on the staff, and we know that we have a great responsibility to manage the college football playoff and also a wonderful opportunity.
Well, look, I'm not going to be a proponent about any team or anything, but, Cincinnati was a big discussion point coming in the last few weeks. And look, with an undefeated record, yeah, you got to look at them. But if that's the case, then what about the Roadrunners down in San Antonio, UTSA? They're undefeated too. So what talks are you in, and what, if you can share with us, what might be on the horizon for the CFP about maybe a potential expansion of the playoffs? Because I know that's been discussed recently.
Yeah, obviously, I'll go to Cincinnati first. Great season, tremendous quarterback, and it is so hard to be undefeated in football, and they've done it. And the same thing with the Roadrunners. I was director of the Final Four men's Final Four, before I came over to football, and we had very successful Final Fours in San Antonio, and the host school was UTSA. So I was working with those people when they were trying to figure out whether it would be in their best interest to start a football program. And they went round and round, talked to community leaders, and it was going to be expensive, but it was going to really raise the profile of the school. And it's done that. So I'm very happy for my friends in San Antonio and very proud of them. Let me look at expansion just a minute. We can come back to any of this that you want to, but we did have a subcommittee who proposed expanding the CFP to 12 teams. You've read all about that, so I know you know all about it. And that's under review. And I don't know how the review will come out. This is the 8th year of a 12-year contract to have the CFP with 4 teams. And so we have 4 more years to go after the season. But it would be possible to expand in 2 more years. So we'll just have to see what our bosses, the university presidents and the conference commissioners who manage the CFP, will have to decide what they want to do. And I really can't handicap it. I don't know how it'll come out.
Sure. So just so our listeners are clear, and I want to make sure we're understanding it right, there's a 4-year contract left on the CFP with 4 teams, but it's possible that maybe in 2 years we could see an expansion.
That's right.
Yep. And then, then you're looking at some of these teams that might be on the outside looking in right now, having the chance to go up there. And I agree with what you said, too. A lot of these, look, I went to LSU. No surprised that the year after LSU wins a national championship, enrollment increases. It gives the school publicity. And look, it's not just college football. Winning NCAA championships. If Duke wins a basketball championship, people get more, see that more name recognition of Duke, whatever the sport might be. Vanderbilt in baseball recently. Those schools, the success of the athletics is tied to the success of the academics and enrollment as well, isn't it not?
It is. Absolutely. It's good for the whole school. It's good for the connection with alumni who love to come back on Saturdays and visit the campus and stroll around their old haunts. College sports has been called the front porch of the university, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. And one thing expansion would do, whether we go to the recommendation of 12 teams or whether we kind of fall back and only go to 8, expansion would provide more opportunity for participation. More schools would be in the hunt, so to speak, for the championship. And if you read the stories, after this week's rankings, most of the stories say there's probably 8 teams, that really have a chance to get in CFP now with 2 more weeks to go in the season. And if it was a 12-team tournament, I haven't sat back and counted it, but I'm sure that number would go to some 20 or maybe even more.
Yeah.
So better opportunity for participation really would bring football more in line with other NCAA sports in terms of how many teams, what percentage of teams compete for the championship. And that's not a bad thing either.
Sure. And then, we see a lot of times, schools sometimes now, you lose 1 game or you lose 2 games and you think you're done, you're out, and then the attendance drops at the home games and the interest starts to wane a little bit. But if a 1 or 2 loss team still in it, the interest in the football program and the attendance and everything else with it, you still stay right in that hunt, even to a 1 or 2 loss team that you might not have been if it was only 4 teams up there and you kind of have to go undefeated.
Yeah, that's right. And, of course, we also have the other tier and the other important part of postseason football, which is the bowls. And lots of teams are competing for bowls right now, and that's really cool. Always has been cool, and I think will continue to be cool no matter what happens with the playoff.
Well, Bill, you were talking earlier about Final Four, too, and I know you worked a bunch of the Final Fours. You're the first executive director, a full-time, right, of the Final Four, and had a Final Four down here in New Orleans, 1993, with North Carolina and Michigan. And I actually was in a pool, and I thought I was about to win $500. And then Chris Webber calls like his 9th time out of the game, screws me out of $500. What are your memories of that one?
Oh, I love the Final Four. And how about this? This year will be my 43rd consecutive Final Four to attend.
That's amazing.
And I don't know if that's a record. I doubt it. But that's a bunch. And, of course, it's so cool for us to get to come back to New Orleans for another event when we see the Final Four this year. I got 2 memories of that one. One is my seat was at the official table. So I'm sitting there and I've got my head down. I'm working on something. And I hear this person standing in front of me, and he's singing Hail to the Victors, the Michigan fight song.
Right.
And I thought, oh, that's cool. The person's singing the fight song. And I looked up, and it was Dean Smith.
What?
Yes. And he was standing kind of all by himself, as much as you can, on the court. And he was just going, Hail to the Victors. And then, of course, I'm just a few feet from Chris Webber when he calls a timeout, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, did that really happen?
Yeah.
And little did I know the effect that it had on you, Brad.
Yeah, goodness. I know. God forbid, right?
Back then, that was real money.
Yeah, $500. I mean, I lived like a king for that back then. Well, look, Bill, I really appreciate you jumping on with us tonight, man. I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
You bet. Happy to do it. I'm just going to say about LSU. I love LSU, and I think what a beautiful place it is, and they've got the best trees in America. And I made an excellent trip with our baseball team. I worked at Oklahoma as an SID, Sports Information Director, and we rode the bus from Norman to Baton Rouge, and we stayed in the dorm that was under the football stands.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not still operating as a dorm.
They're not, but yes, that was how the stadium was built. It was a, quote, dormitory, which just happened to look like a stadium.
Well, it was great. It was a thrill, and of course, the baseball then wasn't what it was now. But I love baseball. Love college baseball. So anyway, got a lot of great memories about your part of the world.
Oh, look, I'm an LSU grad many times over, so it holds a special place for me. But, well, look, if I'm stealing you for a few more minutes, talking about Oklahoma, I mean, the LSU coaching search is wide open, and, Lincoln Riley, the Oklahoma coach, is one of the names being thrown around. Dave Aranda, Billy Napier from UL. Just coaching carousel. And you got the USC job open as well, Florida job open. There's a lot of top-notch college football programs right now seeking a coach this year. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see what coaches get poached from their perch right now and brought to a new campus come next fall.
Yes, it will be, and then how the dominoes fall. And I'm not really involved in that. Probably like you, I'm kind of sitting back and watching it and seeing to see what happens. And it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, definitely an interesting time. We'll see. I think LSU's set to name a coach pretty soon here, try to get that done before National Signing Day coming up. So all eyes will be on that. I'm sure other schools in the same boat.
You bet. You bet.
Well, Bill, look, I appreciate you taking time. I know it's busy. It's Thanksgiving week, so get out of here. Go spend time with your family. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks again.
Happy Thanksgiving, Brad. Thank you for having me on. Take care.
There you go, fans. The executive director of the college football playoffs said no, he wasn't going to give you any insight as to the top four. You have to stick around and figure out how that's going to play out. So we're going to step away for a minute. We're going to come back. We're going to have more scores, more reports, some winning coaches. Don't touch the dial. We're with you to 10:30 here on WWL for the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup.